first of all, congrats on such a fantastic sequel to Goon. This was very entertaining, lots of energy, and lots of laughs at the end of it. So
thank you very much.
So this must have not been an easy first film to direct with all the hockey action sequences and fight scenes.
Yeah.
So what was it like sitting on the director's chair?
Yeah, I had my work cut out for me on this one. You know, it wasn't. It wasn't for hipsters complaining about their relationships in a coffee shop for 90 minutes. There's a lot of characters, a lot of hockey teams, a lot of action. But that's my favorite stuff. Those are the movies that excite me the most. Are action flicks and horror movies, and so to construct an awesome sequence that gets people's blood stirred is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I got to do it a bunch of times. But all this being said, it was a lot of work. So it would start with, we'd write a hockey sequence in the script in our stage direction. Then Adrian Lamonaco, who trained all of our boys and was basically our hockey boss on set, he sat with me, took my god-awful stage direction that I wrote with Jesse, found a way to translate that into actual hockey, train the players with that, and then a month later we'd be shooting. And so we'd start every hockey sequence with the entire cast and crew lining up and watching Adrian run the play with the hockey doubles. They'd run it 3 times. And then we get to shooting, and we'd find a way to work our actors into it.
That sounds very complicated.
It's a lot, and then you have to put it together.
Right.
Then you have to edit it and make it entertaining and make sense. So, wow, it's really cool, though.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
There's a massive fan base for the first film, as you know already. So, how much pressure was there for you to deliver, considering for a successful sequel to the cult hit?
That was the biggest amount of pressure. That was the only real stressor was, we have to give people a movie that these fans and these characters deserve. And this is why it took us a bit of time. And this is why it didn't come out a year after the first one. It wasn't just about keeping something going. It was, these are awesome characters and this movie means a great deal to people. There is no point in making it if we can't at least try to improve upon it. Really, if we give a movie as good as the first one, I think we failed. So we have to find a way to do a story that is worth their attention, and it took us some time, but I think we did it.
Yes, you did.
Thanks.
You put together an amazing cast. You have actors, athletes, and then athletes turned actors, as well as some NHL players.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about that, as well as that epic battle royale scene?
Oh, cool, yeah. So we were spoiled for riches on the first one. We had as good a cast as I've seen in any movie. And so, and it speaks volumes about how much fun they had on the first flick, that everybody was so... It was all quick yeses when we said we wanted to do this again. There wasn't much of a pause. Everyone was like, now, everyone's busy and have schedules. So the complication stuff was working at everyone's calendars, but everybody just wanted to be there. And we knew that the movie meant a lot to a lot of hockey players. So we got whoever, we wanted to include some in this one. That's why we got Michael Del Zotto and Tyler Seguin. In addition to George Peros, Colton Orr, George Larocque. We were spoiled for riches again. And then the Battle Royale sequence, that was like, so that whole bruised and battered part of our story is based on a real thing called the Black and Blue Hockey Fighting Competition, which is this fairly sad kind of thing that happened once. And it captured our imaginations because we thought that's a pretty messed up way for some people to say goodbye to their careers. I understand why they would do it, but it didn't end up the happy thing I think maybe they hoped it would be. So we knew that that's exactly where Ross Ray would end up. And then it was a question of, how do we keep this interesting? And we were like, well, what's the most extreme literal example of how messed up this thing is? Well, let's put 10 guys on the ice, every man for himself, and yeah, it's insane.
It was an insane scene, for sure.
Good.
Fighting in hockey has been frowned upon in recent years, so do you believe there's a need for an enforcer?
My personal belief, and this is because of the way I was raised and the hockey that I was shown as a child and who my parents were, I was raised believing it's an intrinsic part of the way we play the game here. However, I understand the people that take issue with it, and I can't argue against it. And so that's why we tried our best to frame this movie in something of a moral gray area. I think if you believe fighting should be in hockey, you will feel your opinion honored in this movie. But I also think that if you take issue with fighting in hockey, you will feel your opinion honored in this movie. We tried our best to not take one side or the other. It would be hypocritical of us, the makers of Goon, to tell people that we think hockey fighting is wrong. But it would be irresponsible of us to make the movie we make without showing people what it looks like behind the scenes.
Well said.
Thank you.
Well said. I read that you feel hockey players are a lot like superheroes, like the Avengers, you compare them. So if you're following actors with superheroes, what would their superpower be? So let's start with Sean William Scott.
Oh, geez. His superpower is his height. His heart is like an orb of light that just comes out of every orifice in his head. So he has the power of kindness.
Everyone's been saying that. That's great. Liev Schreiber?
Scary as hell. Yeah, so he has the power of sheer intimidation.
Wyatt Russell?
Wyatt is electricity. He's electric.
And Marc-Andre Gordon?
The power of just being beautiful than most women, never mind men. So he's just a beautiful boy.
What would your superpower be?
Oh, Jesus Christ. The ability to make anybody I'm in a room with uncomfortable.
All right. What's your favorite hockey team?
Oh, Montreal Canadiens.
Of course. And your favorite hockey player?
Current or all time?
You could tell me both.
All right. Current would be Carey Price, P.K. Subban, and Sidney Crosby. All time would be Patrick Waugh.
Right. And lastly, is this movie going to be a trilogy?
So Doug retires at the end of this one, and he's retired. But he does, him and Eva do give birth to a beautiful baby girl, baby Glatt, at the end of this movie. And I do dream of a time when maybe a decade from now we can see what it looks like when 13-year-old baby Glatt puts on skates for the first time.
Nice. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dave, for
Thank you
chatting
very
with
much.
us, and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to that.
Thanks.